Hi, everybody. It is Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. I was asked by a friend to try to simplify or capsulate the Trump administration, how this last 4 years have been kind of played out. So I made some notes. I'm going to try to simplify this as much as possible. It's a very complex situation that we're in right now. But um, basically, uh, Trump himself, he obviously loves the United States very much, and he sees the corruption. I've seen him in really early, interviews and things like that. He's also tried to run for president, I guess, the year 2000, but as an independent, it didn't really go that far. Um, and whether people realize it or not, that the two political uh, party system here in the United States is basically, in a sense, run by the same people. It, whether it's through blackmail, um, uh, some sort of political, uh, uh, you know, financial benefits or whatever it takes. But I'm just saying that basically it's whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, they're both kind of corrupt anyway. One might be worse than the other. But so there's been good guys behind the scenes, very, very positive oriented, that have been aware of these not only political problems, but this worldwide plan for uh, basically a one world government. They've been trying to do this for probably hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. um, from what I understand, there was this military group behind the scenes, and let's face it, in any uh, basically in any group or political system, there's going to be good guys and bad guys. Like take for instance, with the CIA or the FBI or whatever. There's obviously corrupt people in those uh, you know institutes, as well as there's obviously some good people. So from what I understand is in the military in particular, it looks like almost the Navy is probably more uh, positive oriented, like the Marines or something. I forget. I'm not exactly sure. I'm just kind of trying to simplify it, but they probably, from what I understand, is approached Trump knowing that he's very much a patriot, and he wanted to help fix this problem. And they were looking for not a leader, but a figurehead, someone that they could, you know, stand behind and really work with uh, to try to not only fix the politics here, but also try to change the face of politics around the world. Um, so, yeah, Trump obviously agreed because, yeah, he's totally up for fixing this country, let alone around the world. He's very positive oriented. And so now that he's got them behind him, uh, they they realize also that the election systems around the world have been basically corrupted, and they bypassed the corruption, and they got him into legitimately being elected into office. Well, this caught the bad guys off guard for sure, and they were, well, because in order to pull off their plans, it had to be a long term plan. It's very, very subtle changes over hundreds of years to try to keep forcing this issue of taking sovereignty away from all nations and put them under one control, which is the one world order, basically, and whether it's the United Nations, but that's kind of the idea. They wanted that was the direction it was going to go. So here's this new president, which is a complete wrench in the machine. He's this bull in the china shop, and he's destroying all of their plans. So they're very upset. So right off the bat, in his administration, they started picking on him really badly. not only just character assassination. They're trying to dig up dirt on him, but as many unflattering pictures as they could, or misquoting him in the press, to try to basically get. They wanted to get rid of him. I mean, this guy is gonna. He's like the good cop that's gonna expose all the bad cops in a precinct or something. They got to take him out. So they've tried absolutely everything. The whole world has had to witness this. Now, the thing is, with any politician, what they all make promises, and they make promises just before they get in office, and then they go, oh, gee, I couldn't really quite pull that one off, and sorry, I can't do this, and it basically is always hollow promises. For for someone that's new at this, or a younger generation, they don't see that. It's only the older people that realize it, because after we've seen, you know, 5 or 10 administrations, we realize it's the same old. It's just meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And I think that's kind of what we were all expecting. I know I was. I was thinking, oh, here's this guy. He made a bunch of promises. He's going to get into power. But Trump, like no other president before, was actually following through with every one of his promises. I was like, wow, that's something's going on here. This is like, he's good. He's he's not. Well, the main reason why is because he's not a politician. He's a businessman, and he's trying to fix the United States. So from what I understand so now he's got this good military behind him, backing him up, and he's in a sense, put into power to try to bring back sovereignty to the United States. So, I mean, I got a whole list of stuff that he was trying to fix, and yeah, it was basically all their plans. This cabal has got these long-term plans of basically trying to change the United States in particular, let alone the world, into one big socialist farm that they can use everybody, enslave everybody. And so he wanted to bring back sovereignty to this nation, like make America great again, which is awesome. So he started really winning over a lot of people, because they realized he's really doing something good for all of us. So he basically tried to stop selling out industries, and bring work back to the United States, manufacturing jobs, everything. And also, his main plan was to expose the corruption in the United States and also around the world. And let's see. So actually, one of the things I want to discuss was one of his first things he started implementing, which is never heard of before, was he started a war against human trafficking and child trafficking. So I think it kind of caught the world off guard, and as usual, the bad guys, or the people that are trying to nullify his administration, just downplayed anything good that he was doing. That's their plan. But this actually becomes almost a key pivotal thing that expanded more, had a wider range than I think a lot of us expected. Because if you can imagine, everybody kind of knows about Area 51, and everybody knows, okay, it's an underground base. So in their minds, they're thinking, maybe a couple stories or something. But from what I understand, it goes really, really deep, probably maybe even 5 miles deep or something, and also huge, a lot bigger. So can you imagine if he was made privy to that information, let alone when you start realizing, where do all these missing people, let alone missing children, go every year? Like, they're not, held captive. Well, some of them are, on the surface of the earth. But what I'm getting at is, there's underground bases similar to Area 51, and we call them DUMBs, which is deep underground military bases. But it's even bigger than that. It's a lot bigger than that, and they're all connected. Like, take for instance, they have underground magnetic lift, almost like tubes or trains that could travel extremely fast. From what I've heard, you can travel from, let's say, Area 51 to underground in New York in probably like 10, 15 minutes. So once they started going down there and finding out where all these human trafficking children were being kept and abused, it obviously opened up a whole can of worms, a huge can of worms, which connected basically underground around the world. Just basically, it's everywhere, and it's also really, really old. There's some old tunnels that go back thousands of years, as well as some newer ones that have been being built up over the last 40 years or more. So, like I said, one thing kind of led to another, and it basically became connected to basically the extraterrestrial treaties. Like, take for instance, what happened at Roswell. Probably didn't happen exactly the way we were told, but yes, that's a real occurrence. And there's been a lot of other ones that just nobody's really aware of, because a lot of this stuff is purposely kept from the public. They don't want anybody to know, not only that we're obviously not the only creatures in the universe, but we're actually having relationships with a lot of extraterrestrials out there. And there's good ones and there's bad ones. And just like even on Earth, like, we can be deceived and betrayed and things. So whether they've been signing treaties on for different purposes, I guess the main purpose was initially is they were approached, and I'm talking about like the U.S. military at the time, let's say back in 1947, 48, they were told that if they were allowed to abduct a certain amount of humans and then wipe out their memory so they won't remember it, whatever, if they could use us for genetic experiments and things like that, they would exchange this deal with technology. So whether we realize it or not, that's kind of where we started to explode with not only computer stuff, but lasers, LEDs, plasma TVs. All this stuff started coming out slowly into the public after basically starting in the 1950s. So this was kind of the deal they did with some extraterrestrials. Now, there's a lot more to this story, so I'm trying to encapsulate it. So now Trump was probably approached just like any other president in the past, saying, "Listen, you're really someone's going to have to. One of these administrations is going to have to do a disclosure, which is basically telling the public the truth. Listen, not only are we being visited by extraterrestrials, but we've made deals with them." And as you can imagine, if you're a president, I don't know, first of all, it's a stretch. People are going to go, I don't know about that. They're not going to believe it. And also, they're going to feel really, really betrayed, because it's like, well, if you guys made these deals without our permission, that's not very, very fair. And what have you been giving in exchange? They've been basically abducting a lot of us on planet Earth to extraterrestrials from all over the place, in exchange for technologies to benefit them, but not benefit us. As a matter of fact, they've been selling us this technology. So even then, they're still profiting from it. So anyway, as you can imagine, no president in the past wants to come clean on this. They've been avoiding it. They've been kicking that can down the road for so long. It's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. You do it. I don't want to do it. Well, anyway, Trump decided, okay, I'll do that. Probably couldn't do it in the first 4 years, but when he comes back, he'll do it in another 4 coming up. And this is kind of what I've been seeing play out, and what I see what's going to happen. So, believe it or not, that's kind of the situation we're in right now. That's kind of the bigger picture. Now, what's going on the surface is politics, as you can see. Is what's kind of going on, but right before our eyes is this tearing down the deep state and exposing a corrupt political system. And from what I see, it's they're letting it expose itself, not only the election fraud and all this stuff, but they're letting this play out to show people what's been going on. Because the biggest project isn't about just fixing our economies and making sure we're all are happy and free and stuff like that, but it's to stop the enslavement of mankind. So this is a huge project. This is the freeing of human beings on Earth. So, and whether we realize it or not, this problem is really runs deep, and it's been around for a long time. It's really deeply rooted, let me put it that way. So to unroot all this evil corruption is just a huge job. So it's taking, I think, longer than we expected. But also, I'm just going to give you a little bit of heads up. Part of this disclosure is going to be like not only waking people up to what's been happening to us, just even on a worldly political arena, but also deeper, as in like waking up to the reality of we are part of a galactic family. We've just been used, and used and abused, and that's gonna be exposed in the next 2 years for sure. So I'm just kind of trying to simplify this, and we are going to break out of this, and there's going to be a free new world. It's not going to be perfect at first. It's going to be a lot of work, a lot of hard work to get it back on track, but that's kind of where we're heading. So I don't know, we better kind of brace ourselves for this, or at least start entertaining the thought that this is coming. So anyway, that's kind of my short version of how the Trump administration has been basically, working towards this goal. So this isn't just about United States politics. It isn't just about earthly stuff. This is really big. This is a big situation we're in right now. You got to kind of wake up to that. Okay, that's all I'm going to say for now, and I'll make another video probably later this week or something. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.